I'll manage to switch into Polish then and to do both in English and in Polish. Maybe I'll introduce myself. I am a psychologist and a special education teacher. I work at the clinic in Kieksz, quite close when it comes to going by train. I've been working for 15 years with autistic people, with autistic kids, teens and adults. And I've been leading workshops and seminars like these for different groups in different environments. And we've been talking a while ago that the groups were mainly devoted to taking care of the kids. This is how the history of autism is. This is very common to think about neurodivergent people, or it was to think about neurodivergent people as children. And in the 15-year time gap, we've been progressing and growing up as a specialist, taking care of different age groups and older than teens and then adults. So I'm very, very happy that finally we can have workshops and meetings with companies and think about supporting adults on the spectrum and adults with ADHD, because those are two groups about which we will talk today. The schedule, the program is, you can see it here at the screen. I'm gonna say a little bit about the definition and history of the neurodiversity paradigm. It's, when it comes to psychology, I'm a psychologist, so probably most of my sentences and thoughts will be around psychology, but it's a very big switch in thinking about helping and supporting people and understanding the conditions. We as psychologists are, we are used to give labels, and for I would say, a long time, autism was thought to be a disorder. And now, thanks to the neurodiversity paradigm, the thinking is way different. We think about autism and ADHD as a condition, not a disorder. But among psychologists, it is still not so, I would say, not so clear. There are many discussions, but the neurodiversity paradigm is very strong. The language is changing. So I'm very happy to present it also here. So there's going to be a brief concept about the neurodiversity paradigm, some thoughts about the authors, which are not so obvious because we have a sociologist and a journalist, two people who created the term, and thanks to them we are now in this place where we are. Then about the concept and condition that I'm mostly interested in, autism spectrum. I'm going to say a little bit about the specific traits. I'm going to say a little bit about cognitive functioning, social functioning, sensory functioning, which is, I think, the most significant when it comes to understanding the condition and understanding adjustments, especially in the workplace. Like here, we're going to see some videos. I'm going to show you some videos. I think it's going to be interesting to see the reactions and the differences in perceiving the world among us all. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the strategies for support and accommodations, as I said. We're going to have a break after, I think, an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a quarter. Then we're going to switch to ADHD. And again, we're going to talk a little bit about specific traits, characteristics, strategies for support, and something which is very, very common right now in psychology, with psychologists and in thinking, the co-occurrence of autism and ADHD, the AuDHD condition. So the situation when we have both the diagnosis of autism and the diagnosis of ADHD. It's very interesting because, like, the whole knowledge, I would say, about autism and ADHD, it's very dynamic. It's changing very rapidly. So if we have met, I don't know, 5 years ago, probably I wouldn't tell anything about the co-occurrence of autism and ADHD. It wasn't well known. The condition, I mean ADHD, was not so popular. It was really like a little bit of a silence for a couple of years because of the research and because of some rumors in our group, in our environment, psychological environment. But right now, we know, thanks to research, 5 years later, that co-occurrence is 80%. 80% of the people with autism are also with ADHD. So it's a condition very likely to be diagnosed. We see it in the clinic, we see it among children, we see it among adults. So this is something we are getting used to, we are thinking about. Some people, some authors, even think that those two conditions are the same form of neurotype, is just like a different side of a coin. So there are some concepts even stating that it's not different, autism and ADHD, those are not different conditions, but they are like, they are very similar, and like I said, a different side of one coin. So we're gonna get back to that as well. Then we're gonna speak and say a little bit more about masking. It's an adaptive mechanism helping neurodivergent people to adapt in the groups, social groups especially. We're gonna say a little bit about the impact on neurodivergent individuals, about the costs of masking, and of course the cost and the consequence of masking, which is burnout state, and autistic and neurodivergent burnout, which is, I think, the most risky and the most hard condition when it comes to thinking, for example, about effectiveness at work or well-being, mental health, and overall good condition of the neurodivergent person. So masking will be a big topic of our today's meeting as well. Strategies to reduce the need for masking. We're going to talk a little bit about awareness, increasing awareness of the person, because not always masking is something we do consciously, sometimes it's unconscious. So like if you asked me about the work, psychological therapeutic work with adults, for example autistic adults, it's usually, especially if they are diagnosed lately, like in their 30s or in their 40s, it's the therapeutic work is mainly based on discovering the masking strategies that the person is not aware of, especially, like I said, in the social groups, work environment, if they are studying still the school environment or university environment. This is really a hot topic, I would say, of therapeutic work. I didn't say I mentioned that, but as a clinic, we diagnose children, we diagnose teens and adults, diagnosing autism, diagnosing ADHD, and co-occurring conditions. I'm going to say a little bit more about this as well later. Then at the end, we're going to talk a bit about myths and stereotypes, for example, about the myth about autistic people and empathy. It was a very big concept a couple of years ago, like 10, 12 years ago, about the theory of mind, the concept that autistic people, they do not have a theory of mind. It's impossible or very hard, very difficult to imagine the perspective, to see the perspective of another person. Now we know, thanks to Daniel Milton and more current research, that it's not true, and empathy is difficulty when it comes to communication and interaction between neurodivergent and neurotypical people. That the problem of empathy is like a hot topic only when people interacting with each other have different neurotypes. Among autistic people, like when they interact, autistic person and autistic person, or person with ADHD and autistic person, we don't see any differences in empathy, theory of mind. I could say in a very simple way, they get along with each other and they understand each other as well as neurotypical people understand each other too. So we know much more, we know different things, we perceive autism and neurodiversity in a different way, and I'm gonna speak a little more, say a little bit more about it as well. I would say it's very important that we meet today and we can talk about it today. Maybe some of you already know that they are neurodivergent, maybe some of you don't. Current research, current statistics on the number of people in the society that can be diagnosed as neurodivergent, especially autistic. I know the data about autistic people. The current research made by ASAN, it's a self-advocacy organization. The research was done in 2023, so 2 years ago, is stating that 1/3 of the whole society overall number of people is neurodivergent. So we can assume that 1/3 of us here is also neurodivergent, or maybe the statistics could be higher because maybe you were the fact that we were interested in this topic is not a coincidence. Of course, I'm joking. I'm not making any diagnosis. I'm just saying it's very important, and probably lots of people also in this company, in this group, may be identified as neurodivergent. And in my opinion, I'm working with adults. We have people who want to be diagnosed in their 50s, 60s right now, so it's really amazing. I think being diagnosed and knowing about the neurodiversity and increasing self-knowledge and self-awareness is a good thing, a very valuable thing, I would even say, in every age. And it can really change perception of life. It can be a game changer and help to understand different situations, different events, different differences, and maybe sometimes difficulties and troubles in the history of the person. It can really be valuable information to create and to adapt the lifestyle and the environment better, just to live better, not to be so overwhelmed, not to be so exhausted, not to be so abused in the sense of doing something which is not good for me and I don't even know it. I'm not even aware that it's not something which is helping and supporting. So we're going to have a time for discussion. I, of course, invite you to ask questions every time you want. I prefer to have a discussion and interaction all the time. I can talk for hours, as I can experience right now, even in English, which is good, because that's my first time in English. So I've been leading workshops, like I said, for years, but that's my first time in English. So it was a little bit stressful, but I hope it's okay. And so I can talk for hours, but I would really be glad if you give a comment or opinion or a question if something is not clear. Okay, so let's